Cut it out. There we go. Oh, AJ, hello, welcome. So, I'm Anthony Sonera. I am the founder of the Zen Happiness Project. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. We have on the video here as well my friend Dusty. Dusty is here from, Dusty, where in the country are you?
I'm currently in Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington, Kentucky. Excellent. And I am broadcasting from Long Island, New York. So we're excited about this workshop today. I think this is going to be about a 75-minute program. For those of you who are here with us live, we're looking forward to hearing from you. We've got two ways in which you can interact with us. The first is in just to the right of the video screen here, there's a chat box that's live. There's about a 30-second delay from our video feed here to the text in the window. So you can go ahead and say hello there and let us know where you're from. That would be great. There's also a link. If you scroll down just a little bit underneath the description, there's a link to what is called a Nearpod app. And that link will be very valuable. You could open that up in a second tab, and it'll have in it some slides that Dusty's prepared that'll help inform you about what we're working on today. So that will be valuable. Just to give you a little sense of the structure, we're going to start with some introductions so you get a little bit of a sense of who Dusty and I are and what our experience with Metta meditation is. I'll take about 5 minutes since we have some folks who this is the very first time that they're meditating, doing any kind of meditation workshop. Just some 5 minutes of giving some basics of meditation, some sitting instruction, following the breath, and what to do with distracting thoughts. Then we'll turn it over to Dusty. She has about a 25 to 30-minute program she'll walk us through. It's kind of an informative, guided Metta meditation, a loving kindness meditation. I'll walk you through the 5 stages of Metta meditation. And then at the end of that, we'll take questions from the group. So it'll be a great time to have a little Q&A and address any concerns you might have. If you're watching this recorded, you can always email your questions to zenhappinessproject@gmail.com. That comes straight to my email box. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions after the fact. So Dusty, why don't we start a little bit with who you are and what brought you to meditation practice, and then maybe specifically why you're interested in Metta meditation.
Sure. I actually started with meditation a couple of years ago. I was in counseling for grief counseling after my father had died, and almost months into working with my counselor, she suggested that I try meditation. And so I began attending a weekly group that met on Tuesday evenings and Saturday mornings. And it really was a fantastic experience for me, learning all of those kinds of things that you do with meditation, learning about myself, learning to pay attention, learning to be aware and experience all kinds of all of paying attention to all of the wonderful things that were happening. So this was a couple of years ago, and then I just began to really, really love it, and it's been fantastic. In terms of Metta, I love my job, but there was a point where in my job I was experiencing a tremendous amount of stress and working with people that I felt were difficult to work with. I was having a difficult time working with those individuals, and I wasn't able to just leave it at work. I was investing enormous amounts of time and energy and emotion and frustration, into these interactions that I was having at work, and replaying it over and over in my mind and things like that. And so I began doing a little bit of research and working towards Metta meditation, this loving kindness meditation. And it really, for me, was a coping mechanism to kind of to figure out how I can cope with the stress of working with people that I found it difficult to work with. And it has been, I have to say, a very amazing experience for me over the past year and a half that I have been doing this particular practice. It's helped me the work situation is pretty much the same, but it's not, it doesn't control my entire life. It doesn't control all of my thoughts. What it has allowed me to do is to recognize that even these folks that I find very difficult, that we do have things in common, and we do actually want the same things. And I don't think I would have come to that without the Metta meditation. And so that really has been helpful as a reminder for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Dusty. I really love that point that you made, that the work situation hasn't changed very much, but you have, and your feelings about how you relate to that have. So that was just that's wonderful. I think that's very much been my experience with meditation in general. You know, I always feel a little bit like I've created this infomercial out of my life. I started meditating in 2007 because I had graduated college, got married, bought a condo, and started my first professional job, all in the course of about 3 months. And I had long struggled with depression, but anxiety was a new phenomenon in my life at that point. So I had a friend, Tom the Buddhist. We used to call him Tom the Buddhist. He took me to a meditation class with him, and it was the first time in like 6 months that I felt comfortable in my own skin. Even like a 20-pound backpack off of my shoulders. I started meditating. I joined 2 weekly meditation groups and slowly developed a daily practice and started going on retreats. And in 2009, I took vows as a student of a Zen Buddhist monastery where I've been doing Zen training for the last 6 years. I started the Zen Happiness Project in 2013 to make new friends like Dusty. I've been meeting practitioners around the country and around the world, people who've helped and supported my practice, and that's been really valuable. You know, my experience with Metta really started very specifically in 2010. I was in a work situation where I worked with some family members and some close family friends, and it was kind of, we all knew each other. And I had a boss who maybe felt more like a relative than a boss at the time. And we had a series of complicated fights that ended up in me being rather unfortunately angry with her. And I went and I was relating this experience at one of the meditation groups, the Tuesday night meditation group that I went to. Work situation, how challenging that relationship had been for me, and shared that I had said some kind of awful things, some things that I really regretted, but I was too angry to apologize. And the advice I got from some of my meditation friends was to try a Metta meditation that I could, I was meditating for about 20, 25 minutes a day at that particular point in my life. And that I could dedicate, 5, 10, 15 minutes of that to a Metta meditation practice where I would offer thoughts and wishes of well-being for this woman. The advice was given to me to try this for 2 weeks, and it was amazing. After about 3 days of dedicating myself to a loving kindness practice, my feelings about her changed 180 degrees. I went from the last time I talked to her, I was screaming and yelling and using a long string of profanity, to I felt absolutely compelled that I had to go and make an apology and try to right the wrongs of what I had done. And I really became a believer. I was cured of the anger and moved to a place of great compassion for my friend. And I'm happy to say 6 years later here, 5 years later, she's still a very dear friend. And I'd say, if anything, we came out of that period closer. And it was a great experience of seeing how you can transform your feelings through dedicating yourself to this practice. So I got some feedback from people who were signing up that for a lot of people, this was the first of any kind of meditation instruction they were receiving. So I just wanted to do a quick little 5-minute introduction that'll help for anybody who's absolutely brand new to meditation. So the kind of meditation that we engage in here at the Zen Happiness Project is Zazen. Zazen literally means Zen meditation, sitting meditation. And it's a very simple practice. but don't confuse simple with easy, right? The form is we try to sit absolutely still when we're practicing Zazen. And the way that we do that is we really tend to our posture. We make sure we're in a comfortable seat, that our spine is supported. Right now, I'm not sitting against this back of this leather couch. I actually have a little pillow behind the small of my back to help create that healthy lumbar, that nice little curve to my lower back. My legs are straight in front of me. Spine's upright. I'm not leaning left or right or forward or backwards. Try to open my chest. I sit at a computer all day, so my posture is not great. I hunch over like this. I try to have a nice broad open chest to promote nice, healthy, natural breathing. In this kind of meditation, you can leave your eyes open. You can close your eyes halfway and sort of softly gaze at the floor. You can close your eyes all the way if that isn't going to make you sleepy. If you're worried about falling asleep or you're feeling easily distracted, you can open your eyes a little bit and let some light in. I do recommend breathing in and out through the nose is the easiest way to breathe during this practice. It keeps you from your mouth getting dry and needing to swallow a lot. So if we attend to our posture and we have a nice healthy spine, we can sit still. And then we bring our focus in Zazen to the experience of the breath. And you can bring your awareness to that, to the tip of your nose, to the air as it moves through the back of your throat, to the expansion and contraction of your lungs, or all the way down into your belly. Hara, H-A-R-A. H-A-R-A. Hara means literally lower abdomen. About 2-3 inches below your belly button. It's the physical center of your body. You can experience your breath all the way down your belly if your posture is good and your body's relaxed. So if we're sitting still and we're breathing nice and naturally, we're not trying to control our breath, our breathing will slow down and naturally become a little bit deeper. And then what happens if your brain is anything like mine is it'll immediately start running away with something. It'll hear a siren go by and you'll go, oh, I wonder if that's the fire department. Oh, geez, I wonder if that old house down the corner finally burnt. And next thing you know, your mind is running away, as it has a tendency of doing. We're simply going to recognize that our brain is thinking. This is the brain's job, in the same way that ears hear and eyes see, brains think, right? Our brains are not going to turn off just because we've started meditating for a couple of minutes. We're going to simply let go of those thoughts and just return to the experience of the breath. So today, when we're practicing metta meditation, especially when you're listening to Dusty's guided meditation and you're working with some of the visualization thoughts that she's offering, instead of using the breath as your anchor for your attention, you're going to use the guided meditation, the sound of Dusty's voice, or the visualization that you're walking through. And so again, don't judge yourself for having distracted thoughts. That's just natural. It's the brain's way of doing things. You're just going to let go of those thoughts and bring yourself back to center here. So if there are any questions about that, you can go ahead and toss them into the chat here. And I'd be happy to answer them. But I think at this point, Dusty, you think I missed anything there for a little introduction?
No, I think that sounds great.
Good, cool. So I'm going to turn it over to Dusty, and Dusty will do the 25 to 30 minutes of guided meditation. I really invite you to create a meditative space here. This is an opportunity to settle in, to relax, to be mindful, and really try to be present and listen to this. So before we get started, I just want to bring your attention to, again, there's a link. It's just underneath the video here. It's down in the comments. It's a link to the Nearpod app. And if you want to go ahead and click that, you're going to take just a quick little survey. It'll touch base about what your experience is and a few questions that Dusty's prepared. And then you'll be able to see the slides that she's prepared there as well. So, Dusty, I will turn it over to you.
Great. So we'll go ahead and plan to get started. If you're seated, you've got your back. I had a meditation instructor who would say that we should have a strong back and a soft heart when we meditate. So get a nice straight posture. And as we get started, just go ahead and let's take some breaths. So kind of Get a feel for it. We'll take a breath in. We'll take a breath out. And if you're an eyes closed meditator, that's fine. If you're an eyes open meditator, that's fine too. But as we take some breaths to get started, let's just go ahead and start to be aware of our bodies and how they feel, the pressure on the cushion, on the floor, on the chair, on the couch, wherever you're making contact. As we take a breath in and out. We'll take a moment to be aware of our muscles, our legs and our hips, any tightness that we feel in our chest. We pay attention to our shoulders. And try and let those shoulders relax and fall back. With each breath, we're just paying attention to our own bodies and our thoughts. And we'll go ahead. Take a breath in and out. And we'll start our meditation, our metta meditation, just as we breathe in and focus, as the breath comes in and out, we'll think about the words metta and meditation. It comes from the word metta, bhavana, which comes from the Pali language. And metta means love or friendliness or kindness. And we call it loving kindness for short, or loving kindness meditation. It's an emotion, something that we feel in our hearts. And that word, the second word, bhavana, means development or cultivation. So as I take my next breath in, I sometimes visualize a garden, like that cultivation in the garden. So I visualize a garden and gardening. We're going to go through 5 stages of practice as we practice this. And each one will last about 5 minutes. In our first stage, we're going to take a breath in and out, and what we're focusing on now is growing the feelings of love in our most fertile soil. Okay, and that's the soil that's closest to us, our most loved people, animals, and plants. Metta begins with ourselves. And so as you take your breaths in, start by becoming aware of yourself. Your focus is on feelings of peace, and calm, and tranquility. As you breathe in and out, feel love developing in your heart. You might visualize a light coming into your heart. During this meditation, I use a mantra, and it could be lots of things, but I start with this, and we'll say this a few times together as we breathe in and out. May I be free from hatred. May I have a healthy mind and a healthy body. And may I live in peace. Take another breath in and out. May I be free from hatred. May I have a healthy mind and a healthy body. And may I live in peace. And during the next couple of minutes, you might imagine those words being seeds that you plant in your garden. May I be free from hatred. You drop that seed, and hopefully the roots grow down, connecting me. May I have a healthy mind and a healthy body. You drop that seed. May I live in peace. And plant that seed. As you breathe, you might think about other seeds, metta phrases for yourself. I love myself. May I be free from anger. May I be free from sadness. May I be free from pain. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be happy. May I be really happy. And may I be at peace. And as we move on to the next stage, stage 2, where we're tending our garden, think of a friend or a family member, someone with whom you feel a strong connection, and imagine that person. You might visualize the light that was previously coming into your heart going to that person. And during the next few minutes, as you visualize this person, light shining from your heart to theirs, you are dropping these seeds into that person's garden, and those seeds take root. And so you'll visualize that person and say, may you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and healthy body. May you live in peace. We'll plant those seeds for the friend or the loved one, the family member. And I like to visualize those roots growing long and deep into the soil. May you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. May you live in peace. We drop those seeds and plant them for the person for whom we have a great loving connection with. May you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. May you live in peace. You might consider other phrases as you imagine this person. May you be free from pain and sadness. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from difficulty. May you be completely healthy and happy. May you be truly happy. May you be at peace. And so the person that you've been visualizing, you want to just set that person aside for a moment. When I do this meditation, I like to imagine us all sitting together in a small circle, the people that I'm completing my metta for. So I sit, and then I imagine the person for whom I just did metta sitting to my left. As we move to stage 3, we think about expanding our garden. And you want to imagine someone or visualize someone toward whom you feel neutral. This is someone that you neither strongly like nor strongly dislike. This could be someone with whom you work. It could be someone in your neighborhood that you pass when you're walking your dog. It could be the person who sells you your coffee or your newspaper each morning. When you imagine that person, reflect on that person's humanity and include that person in your feelings of metta and your visualization, the words of metta. So previously, we'd envisioned the light coming into our hearts, the light coming from our heart to the person that we love. And as we visualize this new person, this neutral person for whom we have no real strong feelings, that loving kindness, that light now extends to them. And we're going to plant those seeds in the garden of this person. And so if you know this person's name, you can actually say the name, instead of you or this person. But if it's just someone you see, you might just imagine his or her face and still use the word you and say, may you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. And may you be at peace. I send my loving kindness to you. May you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. May you live in peace. If you find that your mind wanders back to the person that you really care strongly for, or to yourself, or even to some other task that you may have to do, you can just take a breath, acknowledge that you were thinking about it, and then come back to this person for whom you have neutral feelings. Imagine that person and plant the seed in this person's garden. May you be free from hatred. Plant the seed. May you have a healthy mind and body. Plant the seed. May you live in peace. You might add other phrases. May you be free from anger and difficulty. May you be happy and free from sadness. May you be well and happy. And may you be at peace. As we move into the fourth stage, we're really tending areas outside of the garden. And for this stage, we think about someone that we actively dislike. This could be someone with whom you work, who makes things difficult for you. It could be someone with whom you used to be friends, and due to some disagreement, you no longer have the relationship that you did. A single person that it might be very hard for you to be with. And so when you're with this person, I set this person, visually in front of me. I try not to get caught up in feeling hatred toward this person. So imagine this person, try to think of them positively. When you imagine that person, know that you have a great deal in common with that person, because you both want to be happy. You both want to be free from suffering and to live in a peaceful way. So as we imagine this person, this one may be more challenging. The light that comes to us, to our hearts, we have shared it with the person whom we love. We have shared that light and that love with the person towards whom we feel neutral. And now we share this love, this loving kindness, this light toward the person whom we actively dislike. And we say, may you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. And may you live in peace. It's often easy to plant those seeds in our garden, in the gardens of the people that we love, and even in the gardens of the people toward whom we have no strong feelings. But it's important to plant these seeds even for the people whom we dislike. So we plant that seed, imagine that seed going into their soil and the roots growing strong. We plant the seed, may you be free from hatred. We plant the seed, may you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. We plant the seed. May you live in peace. If your mind wanders to an exchange that you had with this person, or you've begun to envision what you would have liked to have said, or how you wished you had reacted, just bring it back to that person's garden and the recognition that we do share many things in common, particularly our own wants and needs to be happy and free from suffering. You imagine the person and say, may you be free from hatred. May you have a healthy mind and a healthy body. May you live in peace. That light leaves you and extends to the person that you dislike. I send my loving kindness to you. May you be free from sorrow and suffering. May you be free from anger and difficulty. May you be well and happy. And may you be at peace. As we move into the next stage of Metta, we are extending our Metta to all of the gardens, not just our own gardens or the gardens that are closest to us. And so at this point, I would ask you, all of these people. For me, I like to imagine us sitting in a circle, but you can do whatever works for you. Remember to include yourself. So you are present. Imagine yourself, that light is down, is with you. You have your friend or your family member, your loved one sitting with you. You have the person toward whom you feel neutral, you have no strong feelings. And then you have the person whom you actively dislike. And begin to think of all four of these people, all four of us together. And we extend that light to the four in that circle. But then we extend these feelings further. So as we think about our metta, we'll say, may we be free from hatred. And that's me, that's the person I love, the person to whom I feel neutral, the person whom I dislike. And I want to extend that further to the people around me, the people nearby, the people that are in the same building that I'm in, the people in my neighborhood. May we be free from hatred. And I want to imagine that loving kindness, that metta, going even further than just the people in my neighborhood and those, the four of us sitting here, into the town where I live, the people that live here. May we have a healthy mind and healthy bodies. And we extend those feelings even further into the county or the state or province where we live. May we have peace. And you might imagine that light that had previously come just to you, and then you shared with each of the other three people. That light extending in waves and in particles through our towns, through our cities and counties and provinces and states, and on throughout the world. We feel waves of loving kindness spread from our hearts to all beings everywhere. May we be free from hatred. May we have healthy minds and healthy bodies. May we be at peace. That loving kindness extends as far as we can imagine to include all sentient beings in the universe. And we send that wish, may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings in all universes everywhere be free from suffering. May we all be well and happy. May we all be at peace. I imagine the seeds firmly in the soil, in my garden, in my friend's garden, in the garden of the person to whom I feel neutral, in the garden of my enemy, in the gardens of all beings in our planet and universe. And I imagine the roots reaching down into the soil, gathering nutrients, gathering that light of loving kindness. When I continue to plant even more seeds, saying, may we be free from hatred. May we have healthy minds and healthy bodies. And may we live in peace. As we conclude our Metta meditation, we want to remember to accept the Metta that is available to us before we close our meditation. And so as we do that, as we share our Metta with others, we also become open to accepting the Metta that others have shared with us. And you might consider a phrase such as, I open my heart and accept loving kindness of every being and creature in return. I let that love into my heart, and I share the benefits of this meditation with everyone. And to conclude, we might all say together, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. And finally, may there be peace. May there be peace. And may there be peace. I like to conclude by giving thanks. And so I offer my gratitude for the blessings and gifts I've been given. I offer my gratitude for the health I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the family and friends I have been given. I offer my gratitude for this community I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the teachings and lessons I've been given. I offer my gratitude for the life I have been given. Just as we are grateful for our blessings, so we are grateful for the blessings of others.
That was wonderful, Dusty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciated that. I love the gardening metaphor. I thought that was just wonderful. Really, first time I had heard a metta meditation, loving kindness meditation guided that way, and it really worked for me. It felt very, for me, it tied in very nicely to our interconnectedness. It's a big theme that I feel a lot of resonance in my life and my practice right now, and I just love the pacing and the phrasing. Your choice of words were absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much. Really quite great. For our friends who are live and on a desktop browser, if you want to ask any questions or if you have any reflections, we'd also be interested just to hear what your experience was like the first time practicing metta meditation here. You can also, if you're on a mobile device and you don't have the chat function, you can reply to the email and send any questions along. I'll try to answer those here with the group. And then you guys who are Facebook friends with me, you can send me Facebook messages, and I'll happily read those. We're on a little bit of a time delay. It's about a 30-second time delay from the live broadcast chat. So I'll just give it a second here for people to join us. But again, questions, reflections, all definitely welcome. For anybody who's watching this recorded, a lot of our friends are going to be joining us a little bit later on. You can send emails to the Zen Happiness Project at gmail.com. You can send any to Dusty, and I'll forward it along a question from her or one of the few of us to get back to you. We're also going to include in the comments section and the notes, just the video here, and some links to both the slideshow that Dusty had prepared that had some really useful talking points. We tried to go back and forth with the slideshow during this video here, but if you wanted to review those or print them out, I'll certainly send that link along. And then we'll include some links to some other great resources. You know, there's a lot of really wonderful people out there who have been doing metta meditation for a while. So I am getting a little message here. Okay. So Marlena would like to know, do you have to do metta for 25 minutes? That's a good question. Well, you know, I'll answer first and I'll let Dusty sort of comment. You know, for me, this is, you know, one of the places that I do the most metta meditation in my life day to day is when I'm driving in the car, especially out here on Long Island. Being cut off is, you know, multiple times a day occurrence here. We're a little aggressive in New York if they're driving. So I go right to metta as like a shorthand, which is trying to help me my attitude in the moment. I actually, it's pretty infrequent in my daily practice that I make metta meditation and sit down and do it for an extended period of time. I would also say that when I do a metta practice, if it's not in a retreat context, it's with a teacher, the instructor leading metta meditation. I probably do it for, I'm going to guess about 10 minutes. It's probably about how long I dedicate in my practice. Dusty, what do you think?
I think there are times that I will spend the entire my entire meditation doing a metta meditation. But I will say that most frequently, what I do is I will put it at the conclusion of my regular meditation session, and I like to use the mala beads as a counter for me. And so what I will do is I have a small wristband that I will use, and I will count a certain number of beads for each one. And so sometimes it really is just probably only maybe 5 minutes that I would spend in total as I would kind of go through those individuals. I guess I guess for me, I've also been known to not necessarily go through that particular pattern, but to really focus on a few folks that I'm either particularly concerned about or I'm really struggling with, to try and find our commonality, our common humanity. But generally, if it's attached to my regular meditation, then I'll just do say this number of beads. I'm going to do 10 beads for each one of these stages. Unless really my whole meditation is geared towards metta.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Dusty. Got a question here from Ben. Wants to know. Ben says, "It sounds like Ben struggled the most with extending metta meditation to himself, and was wondering any advice we have." That's funny, Ben, because that was literally my experience with this the first time, and I struggled with it so much that the friend who had introduced me to metta meditation actually recommended that for a little while that I place myself at the end of the list. So I started with somebody who I felt positively for, and then somebody I felt neutral, and then sort of a difficult person, and then myself before extending my metta meditation. I don't know if it's maybe some of my Protestant and Catholic heritage and not wanting to be selfish and self-centered. I don't know if it's that I used to maybe struggle a little bit with self-esteem, but that's absolutely something I can relate to. So in terms of a metta practice, I'd say, moving a difficult person to the end of the list, and kind of having spent some time in the metta practice, cultivating those positive feelings and being able to extend them to the person might be helpful. And so if that's you, if you're struggling the most with offering it to yourself, you can wait till the end there. The other thing I'd recommend too is, this is practice, right? And we talk a lot about how meditation practice is an invitation to work in a space. It doesn't have to be perfect. We have no expectations, right? This isn't the performance of meditation, right? This is practice, right? We're not going to get it perfect. It's not going to be the way we anticipated or expect it to be. It's just going to be the way it is. So if you're struggling with offering wishes of well-being and health and safety for yourself, return to this and invite yourself to come into that space and to look at it. You may feel differently another day. It may come easier some days and may be harder. But when we're working in a meditation space, there's this real undercurrent of acceptance, of non-judgmental awareness, right? So if you bring some of those attitudes and into the practice, you might learn something, right? Really investigate that. What is it when you offer wishes of well-being to yourself that feels so uncomfortable? Is it social expectations? Is it self-esteem? Do you not feel worthy? Are there places in your physical body or memories that are triggered when you have these feelings of difficulty? And maybe what I'll close with is this is just a little ad hoc, I apologize, but this is where friends in the practice, right? Either having a teacher or a sangha, a community that you meditate with, or other practitioners, a therapist, a spiritual director, a priest, a counselor, a good friend, right? I think so often in meditation practice, especially in the States, we think of it as a solo endeavor, that we're doing this alone. And, you know, we talk about this a lot at the Zen Happiness Project. We don't do any of this alone, right? And I think one of the things that's so joyful about a meditation practice is that we share it with other people, that we practice with other people. We get to know ourselves and each other through the practice. And being known and knowing others is a great joy, but it can also be really valuable when you encounter something like this, because there's no real pat answer, right? I know that I struggled with self-esteem for a long time, and then after a couple of years of really living a good and healthy, well-balanced life that was dedicated to service to others, after 2 or 3 years of sort of living in that mode, my self-esteem finally caught up, but it took a while too, right? So every case is different. I hope that was helpful. I'm happy to talk about that offline. Dusty, do you have anything that you would add to that?
I would say that I certainly struggled with that, or at least with a sense of maybe guilt. You know, guilt that I was spending this much energy on myself. But I really enjoy having a visualization and using the visuals. And so when I think about kind of this, you know, planting these seeds of metta, one of the things I think about, you know, this the sharing of it. I know this may sound silly, but I imagine that sometimes as a watering can, and I'm that watering can. You know, so I'm pushing this metta out to other people, to other sentient beings, to my loved ones. And if there are all these holes in my watering can, then I can't effectively do that. And so for me, one of the things that has been helpful is that when I do my self-metta,
it's 18 hours.
When I do my self-metta, I imagine that part of what I'm doing is repairing any of those holes or cracks in that watering can. So if I don't extend metta to myself, then it makes it very difficult for me to extend it to any of the other places that we have to go.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Dusty. I got one more response here, and if anybody else has any questions, feel free to chime in. Patrick doesn't think it worked and wants to know why. Patrick, that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you for the honesty. That's interesting, right? And so I think maybe if you go back to the example I started with, I was in a very difficult situation with somebody who was very close to me, who I also worked with when I first started practicing metta meditation, loving kindness meditation for this friend. And it definitely didn't work the first time. I'm not gonna lie about it. But a couple things helped me. One, I returned to the practice, right? Two, a few days passed from you know, the really inflared, enraged sort of interaction, the fight, right? Some time had passed, and time heals a lot of wounds. You know, I'm just, again, shooting from the hip here. If I were going to suggest something, there's something very important that happens just by giving ourselves time to sit, right? When our discursive thoughts, the sort of scattered brain, starts to stop, and we really start to settle into our practice, and we start to be present in our body. That just takes the minimum of 10, 12, 15 minutes, right? To the blood pressure to settle, our metabolism to slow, our heart rate to come to a rest, right? I think sometimes by allowing the practice to take some time and then engaging in metta, we find a little bit, maybe a softer heart, a little bit more receptive of a place. I used to run a half-day meditation retreat in 2011, 2012. We once a month got together on Sundays in Connecticut, some of my friends, and you know, we're from 12 to 14 of us. It was a great morning, and we'd sit for 6 to 8 periods of about half an hour. We'd stop for a little breakfast, and we did silent meditation all morning, except for the last period. My friend Tom used to lead a metta meditation, and I loved doing metta at the end. I felt settled, I felt present, I felt open and receptive. So I think sometimes if we're struggling with a metta meditation, loving kindness meditation, We might need to give a couple of days just to cool down. We might need to practice a little bit and try to create some of that gentle space, some of that open, positive, receptive space. And then, you know, I definitely, I return to it. You know, if you go back, again, my original example, my friend had recommended that I try this every day for 2 weeks. It only took 3 or 4 days for me to feel a real transformation. But, you know, I think like so much with meditation, there are some immediate benefits, right? You sit for 10, 15 minutes and your blood pressure is going to be lower and you feel a little bit clearer and more present. But you know, meditation practice really takes a while to take hold in our life. That's why in the Zen Happiness Project, especially like in the 21 day or in any of the challenges that we do, we talk a lot about habit formation and how to make this a daily practice, right? I think that's where we start to see the real transformation over time. Dusty, do you have anything to add for Patrick? Doesn't think it worked?
I think we have to be careful about our expectation. And when we go into the meditation, just to experience it where we are in that moment. And we have to celebrate, even if it's just for a second, that we can extend that metta to someone else. And so at the conclusion of the meditation, I might still be just as angry as I was when I started. But I can celebrate, if even for just a moment, when I first imagined, you know, that light going to that person, that some of my anger was gone. And that may be helpful to see if what we can actually do is extend that time more and more as we practice, so that after a few days, you know, maybe at the conclusion of my meditation, I might feel okay about it. But that doesn't mean I want to go bowling with this person. It just means that I may be able to tolerate that person momentarily, and try and increase how long I can have those experiences, those feelings afterward.
That's wonderful. I don't have any more questions here. If you are emailing your questions, the Zen Happiness Project at gmail.com, all one word. Dusty or I will be happy to get back to you in the future. Again, we'll include some more links in the comments just below this video feed. Thank you, everybody who joined us and practiced with us today. This is wonderful. It's always a really joyful thing for me to be able to do this with friends. Dusty, I want to thank you. This was just absolutely wonderful. This is the first project Dusty and I worked on together, and we met through the Zen Happiness Project. And for me, it's a real example of why I love that we have this little community here. It was great listening to you today. Thank you so much for your practice. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you. So, my friends, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.